down to place your grocery order or to make a grocery list, how many times do you go back and forth to your fridge or your pantry to see if you have something or not?
Or how many times do you make an extra trip to the grocery store because you forgot about something that you needed?
We know how frustrating this can be, but we also know the solution to stopping it from happening.
So why don't you tell the world why you married me?
We're gonna make bagels.
Everything I need in seconds. Okay, quality control check. And if you have older kids, I'm not too thrilled with what's going on down here.
That's not how I can either.
Here, you put this in here, so now you need to eat it.
I had the 3 Instant Pots here on this plug. Pico.
Can we get some?
Today we're going to be sharing with you an efficient and cost-effective way to manage your food. And that's by taking a food inventory.
By taking a thorough inventory of what's in your food supply, you'll be able to make the most of what you have and avoid unnecessary waste.
Like not throwing stuff away.
We'll be sharing some practical tips on how to categorize and organize your food,
Like by color.
so you can have a clear view of what's available to you and what you don't want to forget to add to your grocery list. Whether you have a well-stocked food storage or you grocery shop week to week, you don't want to miss out on the valuable insights we're about to share.
We're going to be sharing this with you in the day in the lifestyle that gives you a fly-on-the-wall perspective of our 3-generation homeschooling, cook from scratch, self-employed family of 11.
Job, babe. Speaking of cooking from scratch, one way we do this is by avoiding store-bought flour. Because Harbor made us some 100% freshly ground whole wheat bagels yesterday.
We're gonna make bagels. I'm gonna be making these with 100% fresh ground grain. We're gonna be making 2 different types of bagels. Everything bagels and cinnamon raisin bagels. I love this recipe that we're sharing with you. It uses 2 types of grain that are really good for you and one of my favorites. Step 1, we're gonna activate the yeast. I'm gonna mix water, oil, honey, and my yeast. And then we're gonna let that sit until it's bubbling. I have 3 cups of hot water. Too hot to touch, but not hot enough to kill the yeast. I've added 1/3 a cup of oil, but before I add the second one, I'm gonna measure 1/3 a cup of honey and then do that again so that my measuring scoop is oiled before I do the honey.
I'll do your record and a piece of meat.
Ha! And this right here is why we do oil, honey, oil, honey. It's very hot. I'm just stirring it up. I'm gonna add 2 tablespoons of yeast. Mix that up and let it proof. I love it when we add oil when we're activating our yeast because it looks so cool. We're gonna add 2 tablespoons of sunflower lecithin, 2 teaspoons of vital wheat gluten, and half of our flour that we need. We're gonna add the flour until it gets to the dough consistency that we want it. It's gonna be about 8 to 10 cups. This batch of bagels we are going to do is cinnamon raisin. I'm gonna add the cinnamon right now. I love the way cinnamon smells, especially in bagels. That was 2 teaspoons of cinnamon. We're gonna start by adding 5 cups of flour and then add as needed. Yes. 7. I'm gonna add a heaping cup of raisins. This is about the consistency I want the dough when I'm adding the raisins so that it's not too firm. Okay, I've mixed my flour in. I added just under 10 cups. Now I'm gonna pour this out on the counter to knead it.
Part and the minor is the flatter part.
Gonna knead this until it's stretchy and elastic, which is about 5 to 8 minutes. Since we're making 2 batches of bagels, I'm gonna start proofing the yeast for the second batch while I'm kneading this cinnamon raisin batch. So the second batch of bagels is an everything bagel. The only thing different we did with this is added 2 tablespoons of everything seasoning instead of cinnamon and raisins. And this is a singular batch. The cinnamon raisins were a double batch because everyone in our family likes cinnamon raisin.
Not everyone. I didn't film Harbor putting the cinnamon raisin bagel batch in the bowl to rise. That's an important part. So we're gonna do it with the everything.
We're gonna add oil to the bowl. We're gonna add the dough. Upside down. Spread the oil, then flip. We're gonna let this rise for about 30 to 40 minutes or until it's double. And while that's doing that, we're gonna clean. What? Punching the dough down is one of my favorite parts. Can you hear it? Our first batch of dough is done rising. We're going to measure out 4-ounce balls and then shape them into bagels. Oh, they're good. There's some extra raisins in there. Our bagels have risen. They rose for about 20 minutes. I started a pot of water. Into that I added 4 tablespoons of brown sugar. We're gonna boil the bagels for 1 minute on each side. I'm gonna show you how to do that. Just plop it in.
1 minute. Starting now.
Now 1 minute's up, I'm gonna flip them. Alexa, add 1 minute. When the timer's done, take them out.
Take him out.
I'm sorry, I used... Did that one have sugar?
Yep.
That one had sugar. Now that we got our bagels boiled, we're gonna bake them at 375 for about 20 minutes. These baked for about 25 minutes. I'm calling them done because look at. And this is how they felt when it was the everything.
Don't know.
Well, don't know.
Douglas. Good job, Douglas.
This is a lot of work, but it's so worth it because these are so delicious and healthy. You don't have all the junk that you get when you buy them from the store or from restaurants, and you know what you put inside of them, and it's really good. We boil the bagels to get the chewy texture of the bagel that you like in bagels instead of just with putting in the oven. They'll be more like rolls without boiling them. All right, our everything bagels are done boiling. We're gonna brush an egg wash on top of them. And then in addition to the seasoning that we put inside of the dough, we're gonna add everything seasoning on top. These smell so good. Oh yeah. I was gonna get them. We're gonna enjoy these for breakfast.
Oh, not yet. Simon says they after that.
These are pretty darn good bagels. The texture on them is amazing.
Stop.
Toasting them and then turning them into a sandwich with bacon and eggs. Not bad for whole wheat. Good job, daughter.
Thank you.
So we learned very early on the value of practicing an intentional morning routine. And this is something that we're doing our best to pass down to our children. In addition to the important parts like spending time with God, taking care of their body, and doing something for their mind, our kids also use this time to take care of personal responsibilities and some household chores. One of their main personal responsibilities includes caring for their pet.
What are you doing?
Harbor has 3 cats and often kittens to care for. Grayson has a hedgehog, Asher has tortoises and takes care of our pigeon that we rescued, along with our African gray parrot Zazu, who you often hear squawking in our videos. Lyndon has guinea pigs, Elias has a leopard gecko, and Breslin and Zayden often help take care of the dogs. We believe that allowing the kids to have pets that they are responsible for is incredibly valuable because of what it teaches them. It teaches them responsibility, helping them to learn how to prioritize the needs of another living being. It also helps them develop empathy and compassion as they learn to understand and respond to the needs of their pets. They can help them with emotional development and improve self-esteem. We're talking about in a good way, not in that everyone gets a trophy kind of way. Taking care of pets can help instill the importance of routine and structure along with time management and organization. Having pets gives us an opportunity to live out and experience both the joy and pain that come from life cycles. They get to experience birth, growth, aging, as well as death, which allows us to help them walk through and understand the world that we live in. They also develop nurturing skills, they learn respect for animals, and it can even help them develop stronger immune systems. Now, another part of my morning routine is to take care of our houseplants. I used to fail miserably at keeping houseplants alive, until I realized that with the exception of a few species, most plants don't do well following a strict watering schedule. Some need to be watered less often, and some can go close to a month without me even looking at them. When we moved into this house 3 years ago and I realized what great light exposure it had, we decided to start collecting plants. But I knew that I had to do something different in order to keep them alive.
A little bit more water.
So I set aside 30 minutes, 3 days a week to ensure that all the plants are getting the care that they need. I'll be honest and say with the 60-some plants we have, this really isn't even enough time to account for anything other than just watering, but that's why we have our Friday house days, to take care of fertilizing, transplanting, dusting, and record keeping. But I'm happy to say that as long as I hold to keeping these time blocks reserved for my plants, I'm able to keep them in excellent shape, and having them in our home is very enjoyable and rewarding. Okay, so one thing that I have learned is that when we take the time to organize a space and make it as close to perfect as possible, the one thing that is absolutely necessary is to, on a regular basis, go through and make sure that it is staying in the condition that we left it in, especially when children have access. Now, this pantry does have a lock on it so that Lyndon up are able to get in here. So we don't have all of the kids in here, but that's still a lot of people with hands in this pantry, the opportunity to mess it up. So, once a week, on Thursday, I have it on my list to go through and do a quick review of the pantry. The great part is that this is actually staying pretty much exactly how it's supposed to. There's a few things that I'm gonna point out. Like, we have 2 dried banana containers, and I think that the reason for that is because these are the dried bananas from Azure, and the kids don't like the bought dried bananas, but they do like the ones that we do ourselves. So the other thing that I noticed is that there's a few jars in here that don't quite belong. This actually is supposed to be a stock of chicken broth and beef broth, but apparently everybody's just been running downstairs to get the chicken broth and beef broth when we need it, as opposed to having a stock in here.
It's good exercise.
But I do know that these are the dried blueberries that we're probably not going to keep on hand. And then we also have some extra peanuts that just need to get eaten and some dehydrated bell peppers, which technically don't have a home yet. And then lastly, I'm not too thrilled with what's going on down here at the bottom. Kevin got in here and cleaned it up a little bit at some point when I wasn't looking, because my first glance, there were a few other things that were wrong, but we'll address those in just a minute. So then lastly,
There's nothing wrong.
the last issue is that there are a number of items that are empty. So like our red beans and our dried apples are both empty, which is why I have our working pantry restock sheet. Not going to go into a lot of detail on this. We'll share this in another video coming up. But this is how we make sure that stuff like this doesn't happen.
Okay, today we're making shredded chicken nachos. And with the shredded chicken nachos, we're also going to be pressure canning some shredded chicken. We've made the shredded chicken nachos with canned chicken before, and it's so easy. You just go down into the food supply room, grab a jar, pop the top, put your seasoning in there, heat it up a little bit, throw it on the nachos, and it's amazing. We want to be able to have additional chicken to be used for other recipes as well, hence the 12 chicken. Now normally, we'll just take the whole chicken and put it in the Instant Pots. We have several, but the 12 birds will not fit inside of the chicken pot. So what we're going to do is we're going to take these.
You said chicken pot.
I didn't even catch that.
The 12 whole chickens are not going to fit inside of the Instant Pots, so we're going to actually take the time to cut them up, and we're going to save the carcasses to make some chicken broth. Also, we're going to save these little wings for some chicken wings. Grayson's going to help me. He's going to cut open the birds, he's going to put them on the cookie sheet, I'm going to cut them up. And then we're going to take and separate all the meat and get ready to cook them. We did a poll a couple weeks ago on our community page and asked you what types of chicken cuts do you regularly buy at the store, and the results showed that only 13% of you are using whole chicken. So today we're going to show you how easy and how quick it is to actually cut up a whole chicken. I've been doing this for a while and I enjoy doing it, making the cuts exactly the way that I want. So we got the big bowl here to collect our carcasses, we got the tray here to collect our cuts that we're going to use, we got our chicky wings over here. We're going to save those. I am going to be pulling the skin off of all of this because it makes it 100 times easier to shred the meat without the skin. Alright, we have all of our chicken cut up. Each pot's about half full, and we're going to add a little bit of salt and pepper to each one. Throw them on the Instant Pot. We're going to click poultry, which is about 30 minutes, and see how this goes. Alright, so we put the chicken in the Instant Pot, and I had the 3 Instant Pots here on this plug, and it blew the fuse. So apparently the power drawn is too much. But we put one over on the other side of the kitchen and put it on there for 30 minutes. Let's take a look. I've let it sit for this one for 22 minutes, this one for 27. Let's check this guy first. Christy says that it's not gonna be done.
She's right. It's not done.
I don't know, that looks pretty done to me. Now we have 48 chicken wings, plus some more that are already in the freezers from previous chicken processing. That is going to be delicious.
Okay, so when you cook mostly from scratch, we know how frustrating it can be when you go to make something and you don't have what you need on hand. Or even just making a grocery list. All of that running back and forth to the refrigerator, to the freezer, to the pantry, to see if you have what you need. All of those extra trips to the grocery store can be expensive, time-consuming, and incredibly frustrating. But the good news is we have a solution for you. And the even better news is that you can get started today for free. We've discovered an efficient and cost-effective way to manage your food and ensure that you have what you need when it comes to make those from-scratch recipes that you've planned. You ready? The solution to all of your food ingredient problems is to use a grocery inventory. And we've created the Grocery Guidebook to help you handle all of your healthy, wholesome food supplies. And you can download it for free using the link in the description below. The Grocery Guidebook is full of 14 different resources to help streamline your grocery shopping and save brain power. It will also help you make the most out of your Azure Standard orders, stop wasting money on food, and save time when it comes to grocery shopping. But most importantly, it includes the grocery inventory that you can use prior to each grocery shopping trip to make grocery shopping and meal planning so much easier. The grocery inventory has 3 columns to use as you want. Sometimes we'll use the same grocery inventory for 3 months and use each column to record our inventory on hand. Other times, we'll use the first column to record what we have on hand, the second column to record what we need, and the third to calculate what we need to purchase. Having this grocery inventory filled out prior to writing a grocery list or making a meal plan makes doing so much easier. And if you have older kids, filling this out is the perfect task to hand off to them. Not only will it save you time, but it will also help teach them the important life skill of efficiently managing a family food supply. Grab the grocery guidebook for free, and along with this 35-page resource, you'll also receive a series of emails helping walk you through to make the most of this invaluable resource.
I have my lovely assistant to help me can some chicken. So this is cooled finally to the point where I can actually touch it, and we're gonna start shredding it. We're gonna take the chicken, throw it in. We're mixing dark and white meat today. I'm not keeping it separate.
And Harbor's gonna love it.
All right, here's your chicken leg.
Now, don't put everything in there. Be careful, because there's some stuff in there that's not edible according to some people in our family. Just because you think that you can eat every part of it, including the bone. Like this, babe. Here, you put this in here, so now you need to eat it. This part is the part that I'm talking about. Okay, quality control check. Okay, let's turn this on and shred what we've got in here.
Round 2, fight!
The KitchenAid mixer is excellent for shredding chicken, but you don't want to take it too far because you'll get like mush. It's gross. Kevin, that's all gross. Babe, you're ruining our chicken.
Move.
There's more right there
trying
and
to-
over there.
I got the ones over there.
Harbor,
Yeah?
when there's bones in the canned chicken, it's your father's fault.
I know.
Don't let Kevin shred chicken when he's hungry.
We ain't got nobody to film, so it's pretty boring. So you're on a tripod, I'm sorry.
We've done a pressure canning whole chicken video in the past. And we're not gonna change anything, so I'm not gonna go through every detail here. But we got our hot jars and we're gonna fill them with chicken.
Got a colander.
It's not a calendar.
Got a strainer.
It's a funnel.
It's a funnel.
It's okay.
And we're back, ladies and gentlemen, canning chicken! Because we finally got somebody to film. A chance. It's starting to steam a little bit. Put it in there.
Oh, wait.
You're making such a mess, babe. Oh, this is not how I can.
Oh my goodness, that's terrible. That's not how I can either. I promise, it's not how I can.
Alright.
I promise, this is not how I normally can. That was terrible. Like you can trust it. Like this is not how I normally do. This was a disaster.
Okay, so we put about a pound of chicken in each jar, and to get the chicken broth line up to the 1-inch headspace, it is about a cup and a half of chicken broth. So 1 pound of chicken, cup and a half of chicken broth. Messy, messy, messy. I apparently did not marry Kevin for his cleanliness. It's not really what I'm going for. What's the word I'm going for? tidiness? Maybe? I didn't marry him for a lot of things. Babe.
So why don't you tell the world why you married me?
I married you for your heart.
Yeah, he's a big teddy bear.
I'm not. Oh, a grizzly bear. Okay, so did you put the jars in here with the label saying curved forward? Because that's what I do.
It doesn't matter.
Well, I think it does, because then you put the label of the cur on that, like that.
But I put stickers on there. Oh, it's hot.
I noticed.
Alright, we white vinegar, lid on. Super easy.
And it looks like today we're using a combination of ball and cur lids because they were new and it's what we had. Dad's problem.
Hey, we don't talk about that on camera.
Mom.
Okay, so we're holding back 2 pounds, 4 ounces of chicken. And we have 7, 8, 9. We've got 9 pounds. So we have just over 1 pound of shredded chicken per chicken that we shredded.
Alright, lid on at 407. Okay, Elias, when you do this, you want to tighten them down so this is level. And you go crisscross. Alright, this morning I was watching a YouTube video of an old farmer processing a pig with his family. And it was like a 4-generation thing. He was talking about how he used to smoke and cure the meat and how he would just cut off a piece of ham that was 7 years old in a smokehouse. 7-year-old ham that was just hanging out in the shed. The thing that I was noticing in the comments of the video was how many people wished they had someone like that in their life to teach them these old lost skills of generational homesteading lifestyle. So one of the things that my wonderful wife has done is created our own little journal of our pressure canning journey so that we can pass on some knowledge to our kids, but also to test to see how things are going.
Preserving in general. The sheet specifically is for pressure canning.
Preserving
Yes.
in general, yes. On this sheet, there's a lot of information, time, temperature, what we're doing, how much, and the yield. I'm very grateful that she's put this together so that we have some information to pass on, not just for ourselves, but for other people as well.
So one of the things that I like, especially when I'm entrusting someone else in the house to do the canning, is the checklist that you just go through and it's got every step of the pressure canning. And then we also have a spot for the quantity used or the weight used. So I've got 12 whole chicken.
Yep.
And then quantity, weight, yield. I've got 1 pound per jar plus 2.4 ounces for dinner.
Yep.
I'm sorry, 2 pounds, 4 ounces, not 2.4. We've got the lid type, the number of regular jars, number of wide mouth jars, and then I've got recipe notes. So like this time we did mix the dark and the white meat. We cooked the chicken in the Instant Pot. It was cut up instead of whole.
Yep.
We used the poultry setting and we save and froze the wings. So.
Yeah. Awesome.
And then I've got a section here for preserving notes. So as we go through the process, if there's any siphoning or any blowouts or anything, we can write that down. And then we also have tasting notes. And with this big giant pressure canner, it takes a while. Like it takes like 3 to 4 to
It can take up
5.
to 3 to 5 hours from start to finish.
So we have,
And at our altitude.
we do have timestamps here to note when
Stuff goes in and comes out.
things happen in the process.
Yeah.
So.
Pressure canning.
Alright, so now it is time to make some homemade Pico. My goal is to be able to ferment some of this, but I don't think there's going to be much left over, so we'll see. We've got some tomatoes, red onion, jalapeno, juice of a lime, garlic, and cilantro. So for starters, we got to cut all this up. Alright, we got all our stuff cut up. We got to get some seasonings and just mix it up. I do need to say I'm a huge fan of transparency, and I didn't cut any of this. I need a bowl. And a helper.
Is everything good?
I still love our spice cabinet. Everything I need in seconds. Except for that darn door.
Push, 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 push. Oh, our whole family. We all squeeze together.
We're gonna do just a small amount of cumin, a small amount of garlic powder, some pepper, and 2 teaspoons of salt. Harvey, you wanna go throw those limes in our citrus flavor? And this is not going to be enough to put into a jar. So we'll try fermented Pico sometime soon. And every good chef has to try what they've made before they serve it to anyone else. So let's give it a try. So good.
Can we get some? Can we get some?
Well then.
Dinner time. All right, 2 secrets to an awesome and delicious nacho. One is gonna be seasoning. Although these chips have salt on them, we're gonna add taco seasoning to the chips as well. We're just gonna sprinkle a little taco seasoning over it all and call it good. Somebody asked a question in, I think, one of the videos or a community post about how we get the seasoning out of here because we have an open top. It's kind of tricky, but you just shake the seasoning back and forth, and I actually hold this, I don't even tip the jar all the way over. I just shake this back and forth, and I don't even put the jar all the way upside down, and it comes right out in a nice, even, boom, 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 boom. Kind of got it. Whatever that's called. Okay, second secret to an awesome nacho is going to be putting hot ingredients on the chips, top it with cheese, and then throw it directly in the oven. Because when you heat nachos in the oven, people think you have to heat everything in order to get the cheese to melt. But actually, it's the broiling of the cheese that melts the cheese, and all the stuff inside is warm because you've already heated. We got the seasoning on the meat. This is such an easy meal. Literally, this can be put together in a few minutes. It's one of those things we would call fast food from scratch. Putting about half the chicken from the pan, because we have 2 nachos we're gonna make. Because we's a large family. And I wanted beans and nachos tonight, so we grabbed a can of beans that we had done previously. These are just pintos. We added some of that taco seasoning to it. Do you remember that seasoning we talked about? We're not gonna skip. We're gonna do a little shakeroo. Stop me too. And then cheese, Lyndon. Top that sucker with cheese. I need to go on top. You're gonna do the next one. Okay, when I say top this sucker with cheese, you grab cheese, looky look. That's how you top nachos with cheese, bud.
Even more than that.
I like a little onion on top. Boom. And we're gonna take some of these fermented jalapenos and onions that we made last week. Oh, we're gonna sprinkle a couple of these on. Alright, again, remember that taco seasoning? It's all about seasoning. I see so many people that don't put seasoning on their food in the oven. Let's do it.
Is that good?
Thank you. Zane, your plate, bud. There you go. You got the chip that you wanted.
Jalapenos. Present here. Here, look at. I got none jalapenos right here.
The jalapeno.
Side.
What do we think? Is it good?
Yummy, 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 yum. I haven't tried it. Yummy, yummy, yummy.
They're delicious.
You want more, Papa?
Nachos.
That's all, folks.
Go, please help. Generation, homeschooling, cook from scratch, self-employed family of 11. Soon to be 10 if Mimi doesn't stop coming in.